There we go.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the We the People Washington live stream. 5 days a week, 5 p.m. Pacific. Today we're talking
Yes.
about corruption in the system.
Yes. Hold on.
And
Seems very quiet. Let me try to.
yeah, no worries. So, there's all this corruption stuff coming out about daycares, right? Somali daycares. And yeah, if the government is paying grants to, daycares that don't actually have kids in them, that is fraud, right? Where in the Constitution does it say that we need to pay for daycare for people? Where, like, where?
Or half of anything, right?
Yeah. So the thing is, this whole daycare fraud, like, this is just the tip of the iceberg. You look at the homeless industrial complex in Seattle, spending $1 billion a year, and homelessness getting worse.
Right.
When do we say enough is enough, and we just need to take our hands off?
Well, I don't know. Isn't that the problem? That is exactly the problem. Nobody is everybody's acting like this is like some new discovery, which I find it sad that people are just discovering that this happens. But I think hands off is exactly what the problem is, but that's what they want from us. They don't want us involved. They don't want us asking these questions. Look at what the Democrats are doing in response, right? They're trying to shelter everything now. You're a racist if you're asking. Now let's just be clear, right? To me, this is a when we're talking about Somalia-owned daycares, right? This isn't to generate fucking hate for people from fucking Somalia. That's where this is going, right? Like, here's another group of people to hate.
Yeah. So the thing is, though, like I was bringing up earlier, it's not just Somalian-owned daycares that are participating in the fraud. Like, I guarantee there's other daycares also participating in the fraud.
I'm sure.
These systems are created by these politicians, and then the politicians get their friends to sign up for these programs that they've just created.
Right.
And then the people in these programs donate back to the politicians that created the programs. That's the fraud.
And this is grants in general, right? This isn't just, you can go as far as looking at the colleges, right? And years ago when they were allowed to start, giving loans to people, right? When they saw that you could get a loan to go to college, they start raising the prices. There's no incentive for them to bring it down because we'll just keep giving the fucking money away.
Yep.
And just keep putting people in debt. Big deal. I don't care. I'm getting paid. So
is that fraud?
Huh?
Is that fraud?
Well, I think that touches on fraud. It's the same kind of thing, right? That is the kind of thing that's been happening that we are getting punished for constantly. That is why prices are so high. All of these things add up and make it so that, minimum wage is just stupid to keep raising because we're chasing all of these things, saying that minimum wage is going to fix it, but it doesn't. I mean, no. I don't know how they haven't figured that out in Seattle. They just keep fucking shit up there. Let's raise it some more because, golly, prices went up again and we don't know why. Businesses are leaving. Oh, my God. I don't know why.
People are leaving. Apparently, it's 48 people a day leave Washington State.
Wow. That's a lot of people. That's more than some businesses employ. Most businesses actually probably employ.
Like, I'm about to move my business out of Washington State. My background is going to change here in a month.
Yeah.
We're moving the business out of Washington State. It just taxes are insane.
Yeah.
Property taxes and L&I and B&O. It's just all of it combined and put together.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to keep doing. And I don't. And solving the problem with government owned everything is not going to solve the problem.
No, it's not going
So,
to solve the problem at all.
yeah. So that's kind of what we wanted to talk about today is, what does corruption actually look like? Right? Anything that's not benefiting us probably leads to corruption. I mean, anytime that they're making more laws to try to help us, it's never helping us. But then, like you were saying yesterday, right? They put this pretty wrap around it to tell us, like, if you don't care, and nobody checks into any of it. Nobody reads the bills. Nobody looks at what's actually happening. Just if you care about kids, you have to vote yes. Otherwise, you want them all to die. Like that's the kind of stuff that they use and the kind of stuff that they say to people.
Yeah.
And so you're a terrible person if you vote no. And that's what they hear on the news. And so that's what they believe. And so that's how they vote.
Yeah. It's when people wake up, like here locally, we had a couple different ballot initiatives or spending bills to create a new educational complex, right? It is going to be this huge complex and all the kids would go there. And it's failed twice now. And the reason why it's failed is because of the work that we did to analyze what they were going to spend the money on. Like they were going to spend like $1,200 a square foot in this new building for this contractor out of Texas to come in and build this new complex. But we were able to stop it because we were talking about it.
Why out of Texas?
I don't know, but that was the company that they were going to hire.
It's interesting.
Yeah, $1,200 a square foot. Like,
and if you're going to pay $1,200, let's pretend it costs $1,200 a square foot. It sounds fucking crazy to me, but whatever. Why can't we pay a company here that benefits us? Where the money stays here.
People were getting paid, and that's it wasn't necessary because of all the schools that already exist here in this area, and then they were going to try to shut all those schools down and funnel all the kids in this big complex that they're going to build, right? So
then what happens to all the other schools?
They got shut down.
Oh, they didn't have a plan for what they were. Well, they probably did, right? But then they don't want us to know.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows?
So is
but
that
anyways, well, it could have been. It absolutely could have been corruption, right? If it would have passed, and then every taxpayer in Pacific County would have been on the hook for it, and their property taxes would have increased. They're already high. I paid $13,000 this last year. It is last year, 2025, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's just nuts.
Yeah, it is. It's very crazy. People don't think about the corruption that happens with the wars. I mean, like, I know that we see it. I don't understand why everybody thinks things are one-sided also, right? It's got to be the Democrats. It's the Democrats right now because that's what we're seeing. That doesn't mean that it's not the Republicans. They're the same thing. They do things the exact same way. If one of them's doing it, I promise you the other one's doing it.
Yeah.
Period. There's no questions. They're both corrupt. They both want things their way. And they both want to control us. They're just choosing different ways of going about it. And so, like, when we look at things like wars, I don't know about you, but I've never believed what they tell us a war is for. There is not one war that I can think of that we have gone into that was actually to benefit us. I mean, that was because we should have. right? We do it to benefit the country and the people in power and the people making the money. But it's never, I've not seen one war where blowing somebody up has solved the problem.
Yeah, I was talking to a U.S. Senate candidate earlier, and we were talking about the last time Congress actually declared war, and that was World War II,
Mm-hmm.
right? So there's been no approval from Congress except for, I think George Bush got an approval for limited strikes in Iraq, right?
Right.
Um, but it wasn't a full blown, you know, a declaration of war.
Right.
And it seems that all these strikes going on, companies like Raytheon and Northrop Grumman and Boeing, the ones
Yeah.
that manufacture these weapons of war, that continue to get these contracts, that are paying off the politicians. Um, we've just gotten so far away from humanity in
Yeah.
general.
Yeah.
Like, because if our government executive, Donald Trump can just drop drone strikes in, the coast of Venezuela and in the Middle East, and Obama did this too. So it's not just Republicans. It's all the different presidents. Biden did it as well. Drone strikes. They just
Everybody's done
continue.
it.
Yeah, it just
Yeah.
we do not. I mean, I think we're better off right now in the world. There's less war than there used to be, right? There used to be, a lot more hand-on-hand combat back in the day,
Right.
and things like that. Now it's just, a little more corrupt,
Yeah.
right? It's built into the system,
But a
and
little more, I mean, World War II, like we got into, they forced us into that. The people didn't want into
sure,
it. And then we were still supporting financially the other side, Bush's, right? I mean, like, so even that one, I mean, like, had the Bushes not been supporting them, would it have ever gotten as far as it did?
yeah, probably not.
I mean, it's all absolute crap, and it irritates me, and it is all just to make money. And we were warned, and now I see posts like, you know, it doesn't matter the number of children that have been killed over in Israel, or not in Israel, but in Gaza. Doesn't matter, because that's just what happens in war. And I'm just like, that's disgusting to me. That is
It is disgusting. It is.
How you could ever say that about anything that is killing people, and like you're okay with it, and you're okay with blowing people up. Just, it gives me anxiety. And there's not much that does that. That just kills me.
That's what I mean. We're losing humanity, and
Yeah.
we're losing it through funding the weapons of war, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's our tax dollars that are going to that.
Yeah.
But we can't say, no, we're not going to pay taxes, because then they'll come after us and throw us in a cage.
Right.
You
Did
know,
you know that in the tax code, it actually says, it does not say anywhere that you actually have to pay taxes or file taxes? There's something about it. Like, there's people I've seen, and I've never double checked into this, so I guess I probably should just keep my mouth shut. But it would be an interesting thing to check into, as I swear to God that I have seen where, like, people who have worked for the IRS before have actually won lawsuits because there's some little thing in there, or that isn't actually in there, that's making us pay. So there's some little loophole. Yeah. I've always wanted to find it, but I've never been that ambitious. Maybe now with AI.
Yeah. Well, who knows? But we do know that corruption exists in the system, and that it is rampant. It's not just with Somali daycares,
Right.
The corruption that's in the system is all over the place.
Right. Now, what happens, and why can't we find this corruption? Because you have people who tell you that questioning everything is bad. And so if you're questioning things, then you're anti-science, you're difficult, you're misinformed. You should be listening to the experts. You wouldn't understand anyway. you know, and it's like, you know, this is what we get told when we start questioning, or they make laws then to hide it, which is what the Democrats are doing right now. They are trying to make laws to hide what they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. So the corruption is in a line item budget, which you never see, right? And that's the reason why they don't have line item budgets, why they don't release a budget instead of saying $1 billion going to health and human services, $1 billion going to transportation. They just have this one pager or two pager type overview of a budget, but you
Yep.
never see the line item budgets. You never see who is getting paid
Right.
and all of the line items, the payments going out, because that's how you find corruption, is with those line item budgets. So that needs to be mandatory for government. A line item budget transparency, right? That's what transparency means, and that's how we're going to be able to find the corruption.
Right. And stop it, right? Like, once people are not going to keep voting, you know, I think, like, you know, everybody votes yet, not everybody, obviously, but, you know, when you have taxes on the ballot and it's for schools, I know a lot of people that just vote yes, right? They don't look into what it is. Nobody cares what it is and what is it actually going to do, because they feel like they're supposed to support the schools. And my kids went there, so I'm going to give them money, and I support doing that for the kids, right?
Yeah.
And that's where they get you. Nobody ever looks into it to say what's actually in there.
Well, I want to make, you know, those taxes voluntary.
Right.
If you vote yes to increase taxes for the school or whatever, your taxes will go up. But if you vote no, your taxes don't go up.
Right.
You get to choose.
Right.
And it goes back to the idea of consent, right? So a lot of people on the left love the idea of consent when it has to do with, you know, sex, right? Women should be able to consent, absolutely, 100%. But everyone should be able to consent on everything.
Yep.
And if you don't want the government stealing from you, you should be able to say no.
Yeah.
I am not going to be raped by the government.
Right.
Because if you
Absolutely.
don't do what they say, right? If you don't pay the taxes, they will come after you and they will put you in a cage. They're going to send you threatening letters, lots of threatening letters before. You know, I've gotten plenty of those. They're going to threaten you with a bad time, right?
Right.
Which is technically extortion, right? If you threaten someone like, "Hey, I'm going to kill you if you don't pay me," that's called extortion.
Yep.
Right? The mafia back in the day, these guys got arrested and thrown in jail for extortion, extorting
Right.
businesses. You know,
Right.
and now the
What happened
government
to
is just
that?
taking the place
Yeah.
of the mafia.
Yeah. Yeah. There used to be a lot more turnover in government, right? Like, people went in, they served their time, and then they went back to their lives. And I really don't know what changed. I mean, it's before my time, you know, what changed in government to make it so that people are staying there 40, 50 years.
Well, you look at all right. Let's go back to the Somali daycare thing. So you got Elin Omar, right, as a congresswoman. When she first got elected, she had a net worth of like $74,000, and now she has a net worth of $30 million, $31 million. Like, how on a $174,000 a year salary? She's now worth $31 million. That's
Yeah.
crazy. You know, so there's obviously some corruption going on and some fraud going on. She's obviously getting payments and has stock in companies. And is that Glenn?
Yes, he says you're a total conspiracy theorist.
I'm a nutcase.
Totally crazy hogwash what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm gonna get some aluminum foil and make a hat, a tri-corner hat with my aluminum foil.
Right. Yeah.
But it's true. It's like, how are these, you know, you look at Nancy Pelosi, right? And she's almost a billionaire or something like that.
No insider trading ever.
Never insider trading, right? But it's like, what happened to the politicians that didn't want, money and power, and they just wanted people to be protected? And I think that's, we talk about this. I want to have a cabin in the woods, and I don't want to be doing any of this, right?
No.
But I know that when I go get a cabin in the woods, the government is going to come out and make sure I'm paying taxes on that cabin, even though if I bought it cash, right? And they're gonna, if I don't pay, they're gonna steal it from me,
Right.
and that is injustice, that is corruption in the system that we need to stop.
Yeah.
And if if I can't be protected by that, you can't be protected, and other people can't be protected. They're stealing properties. To this day, it's happening all across the country. Governments are stealing properties from their citizens, and the citizens aren't getting compensated for those properties. They're going up for tax auctions for, as little as a couple $1,000s in back taxes. And then government agents are buying these properties, or bankers, or there's a collaboration going on between county governments and financial institutions on what properties are coming up. Investors are there buying the properties at thousands of dollars, pennies on the dollar.
Yep.
They're buying them for thousands of dollars and then turning around and flipping them for $200,000.
Yep.
Making a ton of money. And the person that spent their entire life building that house is getting screwed.
Yep.
Right? Because they had a medical issue, or
right.
They had something happen. Right.
Yeah.
And that's what I see. It's like someone gets cancer and they can't afford it. Right. Or
Yep.
they have a stroke and they can't afford it. They have a heart attack and they can't afford it. Right. They start getting dementia or whatever. And then they lose everything. And the county comes in and takes it and steals it from them. That's the corruption that we're standing against.
Right. You would think that there could be help for those people, right?
There should be.
But the help is never there for the people who actually need it.
The government should never have the authority to be able to steal someone's property.
Right.
That authority should not exist.
Right. And then all their salaries, right? Like, that's why they make so much money too, is because the salaries are absolutely ridiculous. And I think that there needs to be something with the salaries, because to me, that's also, you should not, I looked at the median income, which blows my mind. It used to be you were striving for 6 figures, right? And that's what, like, once you've hit that, you've made it,
That's poverty level now.
It is. It's the median income is $99,000. Right? 99,000? Yeah. $99,000 a year is the median income for Washington State. So, that's insane. There's no politician, nobody making taxpayer money in this state that should be making a whole lot more than that median income.
Yeah, like government officials should not be making more than the median income.
No, there's no reason to. Not for them. Maybe they would fix some shit if they had to live on what we're fucking living on. You know what I mean? Like, I went to the grocery store today and I spent $600 at Costco, and it's very sadly fit nicely in the car. We cook from scratch. So I only bought things. I bought yeast to make bread and flour and meat. And, we bought healthy drinks that we like to drink. And that's it. I mean, like, I didn't get a whole lot more than that. I didn't buy any garbage food, nothing. And I spent $600. I mean, like, if they had to go shop like that and get just what you need and living on that, a whole lot of shit would change.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, maybe that's another policy proposal,
Mm-hmm. Not a bad one, that's for sure.
Yep.
Let's see. Control without ownership. Corporations don't always need to own something to control it. I think I was talking about stuff like that before, where it's like, we don't understand, like, the corporations kind of do the government's bidding a lot of times. They get in there, everybody hears about the revolving door. You know, in agriculture, you have the guy in agriculture who is making the laws that are going to benefit him when he is not in there, right?
Yeah.
And that happens in every industry. And they go in, they help make the laws that are going to benefit them, not benefit us. You know, these are not the people that we should be putting into office in there either, because that is another form of corruption that people don't understand and don't see. They think that if it's been made a law, then
Like
that's
it's good.
It's good, right? There's a law, so it must be good. They're doing it by the law. Like, these laws are put in place so that they can legally be correct.
Correct. Yep.
So that they can legally steal our money.
Yeah, like all the grants for the Somali daycares, that's a law that got put into place. Like, there's money being put out there by law, you know, stealing from one citizen to give to another one that's friends of the politicians, you know.
Right.
And we live in a state that has a super majority Democrat, right? So they can pass any law they want. And just because like you said, just because something is a law doesn't make it ethical or moral.
Right.
Right? It just means it's lawful.
Right.
So,
you know, everybody gets pissed off because millionaires don't pay as much. Well, number one, if you've worked your ass off, which most of them are self-made, they're not coming because they're not millionaires because somebody gave them money to be that. They've worked their asses off for what they've got. Yeah. And what incentive is it to have everything taken from you because you're successful and somebody else wants what you have? That, number one, kills me. I've never understood that. Like, I don't want to be a millionaire. I don't want to anyway. I want to have enough money so that I don't need money. That's all I want. But it's like, you know, we want to take everything from them. But the only reason that people get pissed is because they're using the laws that are there so that to go against the tax code, right? Like, I'm not saying that right, but they're using the laws that benefit them to keep as much money. And if the laws are there, then what are you supposed to do?
Just like Trump told Hillary, yeah, I use those laws for my advantage, and so do you. Remember that?
Yeah. So the thing is, it's like they're not just taking money from millionaires. They're taking money from everyday Washingtonians and driving poverty up. Yeah. Stealing more money from the average Washingtonian is not going to help the lower class. It just isn't. It isn't going to do that. And what's going to happen is they're going to continue to drive people out of the state because everyone is just trying to make a living. And when the government, you know, you look at the highest gas prices in the country right here in Washington state.
Yeah.
That's insane. You know, it's Washington and California. We go back and forth, 1 and 2, like $5 a gallon, $4.89 a gallon. And then you look at, I got a buddy in Mississippi and he sends me pictures of the fucking gas pump and he's paying $2.19 a gallon or, you know, $2.28 a gallon. And, you know, it's just crazy.
Yeah. I don't. And then I'm terrified to see what's actually, I haven't looked real hard to see what all new laws are coming in this year. Because I've glanced at a few of them and thought, holy crap.
Yeah, and you got Bob Ferguson talking about how, you know, we need to tax millionaires because the cost of living is going up. It's like all of his taxes have increased the cost of living. Yeah. There was a 10% tax increase across the board. It's the largest tax increase Washington state has ever seen. Mm-hmm. And we're paying more for everything, for bread, for gas, for you name it, clothes, like everything has gone up across the board in Washington state.
That's why we cook from scratch.
Yeah, and he's saying the solution is to tax more, and that's somehow going to reduce the cost of living.
Right. Well, and you know, did it go through, or there was a new payroll tax that they wanted to put on company or employ people who make over 125 or 150,000 a year. And like, that's just above median income at this point.
Yeah.
So why, I mean, we want to move, like we're not there, but that's, you know, that's goals and potential. I don't like, it's not even going to benefit us to make that much money. Not here. I mean, making that much money here is not going to benefit us at all because it's all going to be going out in taxes. Like we always, it's one step closer to getting like out of debt and actually living comfortably and not worrying. And, you know, how much money do we have this week? Can I go do this? Like, I've never seen a time where we could just go fucking do something, you know. It's always like, we got to budget it, which, and I'm okay with that, right? Like, I'm not interested in being a millionaire, but at the same time, it's really frustrating when you've worked your butt off your entire life and then they just take and take and take and take and take.
Well, I just realized now on this call, it's like, it is the new year, which means that I've got property taxes due in March. You know,
right.
First half of the year property taxes. I'm like, oh shit, I got to start saving.
Yeah.
I'm trying to sell the properties, but still, it doesn't matter. Like,
right.
You know, I still have to pay it. So
yeah, that's crazy. Well, more fun to come Monday. We do have quite a few people that I'm going to work on this weekend getting lined up. We've just been waiting for the new year to get here and everything to kind of calm down. I am very behind in anything and everything that I need to do. So if you're waiting for me, I promise it's, you know, whatever you need from me is coming. But you know, I've been talking to a guy who is homeless, right? Or near homeless, but getting help for him because he's not actually homeless is really difficult. So I thought he would be interesting to talk to, you know, because what do people actually need to help? Because the shit that they're doing ain't it. And then we've got somebody who was injured by the COVID vaccine. And I'm hoping to get the director of a film about that on as well. And some Maha people and somebody who's on the school board right now up in Eatonville, you know, so we've got some good stuff coming that I'm hoping to get scheduled for the next week or two here.
Awesome. Yeah. And then we're going to do the same ask that we do every single time. If you can donate $5, $10, $50, please go to WTPWA.com and donate. We're spending $5 a day on ads, and those are bringing in new supporters. So awesome. Tony, anything else?
Not that I can think of. I think that's good for now. We will be back Monday.
Awesome. Thanks so much. We'll chat soon.
Have a good weekend.
You too.